Good morning all. We are back down the farm. We're back in the dyno cell. Obviously you can recognise this place by now. I've got the Mazda MX-5 on the dyno and I've got something very special. Well, not very special, but you know, something we've been working on. Dan hooked me right up and it's a bit messy, so don't judge me. I'll tell you what, let me get a torch because you won't be able to see. So, I said in the last video that it'd be nice to get full control over the engine. So obviously, run round to Dan, gave him some bits. Look what he's made. It's a bit messy, still needs to be finalised, but got an ECU plug there, wired straight into a MaxxECU Mini, and it starts, runs and drives. We've got everything controlled by the ECU. So the ECU's controlling the cooling fans, ECU's controlling the fuel pump, ECU's controlling the idle speed control valve, it's also controlling the smart charger and the alternator. So at the moment, it's fully plug and play. Like, you can literally unplug the standard ECU, plug the MaxxECU Mini in, crank it, and now it runs. And it's got a map sensor, so we can technically turbo this car now, which is nice. But you seen me map this car last time. I can't remember what power it made, 120 something. I'll have to get the runs back up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remap it again and see if I can make any more power on a MaxxECU. So yeah, let's crack on. So, hang on, let me turn this off. So it's going okay. I've literally done like a proper quick, rough little map. And it's all right. I mean, it's quite hot in here at the minute. The temperature in here at the moment is, it's like 26 degrees. So it's pretty warm. It's not the weather to be making power. But it has made 127 horsepower and 113 foot-pounds of torque. With the airbox on, I can't quite remember what it made before with the airbox off and with the airbox on. So I'm going to open the bonnet in a minute and I will take the airbox off again because I know that made a lot more power last time on the standard ECU. I seem to remember when it was on standard management, it was very, it was a little bit lean and I didn't understand why. I guess that's got to be something to do with the cat and stuff like that. But now obviously I'm on the MaxxECU, I've mapped it where I think it needs to be, so slightly richer. But it seems to have worked because it has made more power. I've still got the standard ECU in the footwell. So what I will do today, once I've finished mapping this to the best of my ability, I'll take the airbox off, I'll plug the standard ECU back in, I'll do a power run in today's weather with today's conditions. Once I've done a power run, I'll then unplug the standard ECU, I'll plug in the MaxxECU, I'll do another power run, and then we can overlay the graphs 100% so we know exactly what I've done, if it's making more power or less power. I'd like to think it would, but no, it's going well, it's controlling it very well. Idle control works spot on. The smart charge alternator just works absolutely perfect. It's like bang on 4.2, 4.3 volts throughout the entire run, all the way up to the rev limiter. I've raised the rev limiter a little bit. It's not really made too much power up there, but I've not actually mapped the timing or anything like that up there yet. It's still very much on a very crude base map. So I think a little bit more time, a little bit more editing, and we might get a bit more power. Yeah, it's quite a cool little car. I can see why these are really popular for tuning. They seem to make really flat torque, which is nice. Mid-range and from low down. Considering this is a non-VVT one as well, it makes really, like, you know, torque's very flat all the way and just starts tooling off flat out. But horsepower seems to make near the limit. It just starts flatlining, but I might be able to put some timing in here and gain a little bit more horsepower. But yeah, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm just gonna let it cool off because it was getting very warm. Although the cooling fans, although they do work, so I've checked them, the dyno fan was doing a very good job of keeping it cold. So yeah, let's crack on. So I pulled the lid off the airbox again, just to try and get a bit more free airflow in. I adjusted the ignition timing, put some more timing in it, took some timing out, mucked about with it, and settled with this. 140 horsepower. Why is it not showing torque? Oh, I know why. Hold up, hold up. So, flow power, flow torque. Jeez. Look at that. So, this was it unmapped on a rough base map. Pulling the airbox off and tuning it, I've gained like an extra 20 odd horsepower. I'm at 140 brake now. And for anyone who knows this dyno unfortunately will only tell you the power you've got, not the power you want. So it is renowned for being a heartbreaker. So to make 140 horsepower, I'm quite impressed with that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to unplug the MaxxECU. I'm going to plug the standard ECU in. I'm going to do it all live. I'm going to do a power. I'm going to clear all these graphs off, so we're starting from scratch. I'm going to turn the fans on. I'm going to let it all cool down, whatever. I'm then going to do a power run on the standard ECU. We're going to look at the power. We're going to discuss it. I'm then going to plug the MaxxECU in. And I'm going to do another power run, all with the airbox off, because we know taking the airbox off gives us the best chance of making power. So that's what I'm going to do now. Right, let's do that. Right, we're running the standard ECU. As you can see, MaxxECU is not connected. All on the standard ECU. Let's do a power run, see where it stands. So it's done. I should really move this switch. So it's done a lot more power than I remember. It has done 135 horsepower and 124 foot-pound of torque. So that's the standard graph. I'm now going to plug the MaxxECU in, do another power run straight away, and we'll see how it compares. So yeah. So now the MaxxECU is plugged in. Bit messy, I know, but we're working on it. See what power it makes now. Turn the fans off again. Alright. So yeah, made 140 horsepower again, 0.7. Made a little bit more power pretty much everywhere, especially up top. So it does work. Needed for a turbo anyway. Let's do a bit more mapping. what we thought was very restrictive, well I say we removed, Ollie removed what he thought was very restrictive. I hear you laughing out there. Don't try and hide from me.
I'm over here.
So Ollie came up with a good idea and he's like, you know you're on a MaxxECU now? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you need the MAF airflow sensor anymore? I'm like, no, not really. I was like, it's pretty redundant now because it runs on a MAP sensor. He went, aren't they very restrictive? I was like, I don't know, let's try it. So we pulled the induction pipe off the throttle body because we don't need this anymore because we've got a MAP reference there. Handy little spigot that comes standard, which is nice. Pulled that induction pipe completely off. Done a slight little bit of tuning because it demanded a slight little bit more fuel. And it now makes 150 horsepower and 132 foot-pound of torque. And as you can see, you can't see it very well. So the red line is standard ECU. The blue line is a MaxxECU with the induction pipe pulled off. So it just goes to show how much a decent cold air feed does for an MX-5, doesn't it? That makes like, I don't know, I'm just really impressed by them. It's jumped up, I've got to try and work it out. So it's about 125 horsepower near the limit here on the standard ECU. And on the MaxxECU, it's 150. So it's jumped up 25 horsepower and probably peak, I would say, 30 foot-pound of torque. No, that's 100. It's 125. Oh, an extra 20 foot-pound of torque for argument's sake. So an extra 25 horsepower and 25 foot-pound of torque. I'm quite happy with that. Aren't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good to go.
Need some bodies now.
No, it don't need throttle bodies. It needs a turbocharger.
Throttle bodies first.
Throttle bodies are just lagged to the limiter, mate. Right. That will about do for this little snippet video of our lovely... What have you just broke? Oh, you took that off. You're leaving that off now, yeah?
Yeah. It's excess weight.
So that will do for a little snippet video of our MX-5. If anyone's got a turbo kit laying around, they want to donate me or sell me cheap, get in touch. I've got a TD04.
Oh yeah, Subaru one.
I've got a Subaru TD04 upstairs, so if anyone's got a manifold and a downpipe, they want to help me out, sponsor the channel, get in touch and do your little plug. But yeah.
Don't tell Ginge.
Don't tell Ginge, yeah. Right, cheers guys, like, share, subscribe. Bye.